Hi, my name is Dave Schock. Welcome to Mastery and Miracles. The basics of spirituality. Basics of spirituality is basically saying that we are not a physical body only, that the mechanical rules of the universe, to the extent that we figured them out so far, aren't all that there is. That the material world actually is coming from a higher being, and we're that higher being. Our universe is coming from us in a sense, in that we get to choose what we experience based on what we put our attention on. So it's a theory of freedom because it says that we as consciousness, we as beings, spiritual beings, whatever you want to call it, are above the physical laws of the world. That the world is coming from us. Like imagine you're a filmmaker and you write a script, then you make the movie, then you go and look at the movie and sit in the movie and you think, wow, this is such an incredible movie. You forget that you're the one who made it. And thereby you generate an experience. So imagine a movie theater, a movie screen, a movie production company, all which are coordinated in a way that they can create something with the greatest special effects that have ever occurred, and that it occurs basically instantly. When it comes to making films, the medium of making a film is somebody sits down and writes a screenplay. First they have the ideas, they sit down and write a screenplay. And then they go through all the stages of casting actors and so on, filming the film, editing it, put it together, and screening it. So the medium is, those are the mediums. The medium is the film itself. Like the medium for an artist is paint and a canvas. Well, for us, the medium of creation are the thoughts that we think in our mind. Now it says in the Bible, ye shall be as gods. What it's talking about is that we are literally the creators of our experience. We've been given the power as spiritual beings to create whatever we choose to put our attention on. Nothing occurs to us, in other words. There is no external power. There is only what could be called one God. And I invite you to think of God, whatever you think of God, but think of God as that which has power. There's only one power in this idea of a spiritual reality. The one power is love. The love that's giving you the freedom to create whatever you're choosing to experience. And my training is primarily in two spiritual paths, A Course in Miracles and The Way of Mastery. Both of these claim to be, as radical and incredible as this is, the new teachings of Jesus Christ, coming a spiritual being, just like we are, the planetary Messiah, speaking through scribes and channels that he has chosen to bring forth a message relevant to this time, to expand upon the recognition of and the awareness of what he originally taught 2,000 years ago. Now, if you think that's crazy and blasphemous, I get it. I was there. That's where I started with these teachings. But I also couldn't pretend that for me, the greatest truth that I found in over 30 years of spiritual seeking and looking at everything you could possibly imagine for all that time, the greatest truth and the only teachings that held up without omission or compromise were these two teachings, The Course in Miracles and The Way of Mastery. The premise of both, the first axiom of The Way of Mastery and a central teaching that A Course in Miracles gets to eventually, is you and you alone are the creator of your experience. Not just how you respond to things, but everything. That you're this spiritual filmmaker creating this incredible world in which everything seems real, in which it seems like you're inhabiting a body, in which it seems like you're limited by the body's senses and perspective, a body that will eventually die. So it's a creation which includes fear. And yet all of it is coming from a much larger, loving reality we could call God, an all-powerful, all-loving God. And a central component of love is that we are free. Not just to experience love, but to experience and imagine and play hide and seek with love and create fear and create experiences like the separation from love, which is what the Course how the Course talks about this world. The world which is said to be a fallen world in Christianity and other religions. So the basic number one step when we talk about spirituality is we are spiritual beings, not physical beings, not both. We're spiritual beings having an experience of a physical body, just like a filmmaker goes into his movie after he creates the movie and watches the movie and gets so lost in it that they forget what's going on. The key to all this is you're free. And only when you can start looking at things from that perspective can any serious evolution or remembrance or realization or revelation occur in terms of spiritual awakening, in terms of enlightenment. Everything needs to be seen eventually through the prism of, wow, I'm creating this. None of this is being done to me. I'm creating this. And that's not blaming the victim, by the way. It's saying there can't be a victim. And now this may be true or it may not. But we can see, I think, that we're clearly better off if it is true. And so this spiritual perspective, this free will theorem, if you want to call it that, free will theory of love, only love is real is the idea, is worth giving all of our attention. It's worth giving all of our consideration because it's the best possible outcome. The basics of spirituality. You are not a physical being. We are not physical beings limited by physical time and space. We are spiritual beings creating time and space so that we can have a certain experience. From that point, and everything else that comes in this spiritual path, the spiritual teachings, is really to get us to realize this in absolute fullness. The basics of spirituality. Thanks for listening.